Hey guys, welcome to today's Q&A. Okay, I have been collating all afternoon with my team all of these questions that everyone has sent me, so I'm going to try and whittle my way through all of them. The answer to the first question that one person just pinged me that caused me to be slightly delayed was, what's the link to join the live stream? It's obviously join the Build Your Audience tribe if you're not already joining us from inside the Build Your Audience tribe. And you can find that on Facebook. So anybody who is watching right now who is not in the tribe and watching from within the Build Your Audience tribe, come and join us over in the Facebook group, put in the search bar, Build Your Audience tribe, and you'll find us. And you can come and join the live stream in its true home. So for everybody who's watching, give me a big wave, high five, how you doing? How's everybody doing on a Sunday? Everyone good? Awesome. Okay, so we're going to whittle through quite a few questions today. Dusty, Deveshi Blue, I saw yours come in. We'll make sure that we get them answered for you. In fact, I'm going to make sure that we get that on screen now for you, because Dusty's question was an amazing one. And if I don't answer it now, I know she's got burning questions, and I'll make sure we get that one answered straight away. Dusty is already a member of Experience Event Masterclass, and she wanted to know what times are things running at, so she can kind of schedule things out in her diary and see if she can run other things as well. So during the week, each week, we have group coaching. That's on a Monday. That runs at 9 p.m. GMT, 1 p.m. Pacific. And we have Thursdays, which is Implementation Lab, and that is 5 p.m. GMT, which is 9 a.m. Pacific. We've tried to alternate a little bit there with the timings so that, again, anybody who has questions, they're not stuck with, oh, I can permanently never do, so like a 1 p.m. slot. Because if you can't do like a 1 p.m., we'll make sure that we've got you sorted with the implementation. We can always carry questions over and whiz through that as well. So Monday is group coaching. That is 9 p.m. GMT, 1 p.m. Pacific. Thursdays is Implementation Lab. That's 5 p.m. GMT, 9 a.m. Pacific. And Fridays is our submission day. So where we have things in our milestone documents, it's where people can submit their information by. It's just kind of a, okay, let's try and have some accountability, because accountability is a huge part of Experience Event Masterclass. And we then review that on the Monday. So you kind of submit it on the Friday and we review on the Monday. But let's dive into some questions, first of all, around virtual event production and our workbook. And I'll clarify anything for Experience Event Masterclass for everybody just at the end there to make sure we've got everything sorted. So if you've got the workbook open, woohoo, hopefully you have. Okay, we are on day 6. How did we get to day 6 already? And what we're talking about is obviously this live Q&A and what a virtual event production looks like. Now, for me, you know, there's quite a few stages. For me, there's 9 stages that I go through when I do event production and that we teach our students. Now, if we were doing a normal, you know, film TV, we would just have pre-production, production, post-production, and somebody would be in the middle of all of that doing all of the sales. Now, for a virtual event, we have more. And I purposely go through these stages in this structure to make sure that the event is really well timed and it's a real hit, okay? So those stages, there are 9 stages, okay? The first one is that we go through clarity. Now, clarity, some of you might be kind of chomping at the bit and go, ooh, I don't want to do that. Sounds like a bit of a bum stage. It's not. It's actually really critical, because if we haven't got clear exactly who you are and what you're focused on before we start any of the other event production, what can happen is you can zoom down and you can zoom into creating the event, get halfway through pre-production and suddenly go, oh, this isn't aligned with what I want to do. It's not aligned with me. I've gone down the rabbit hole too far. And it's quite hard to kind of backpedal at that point without losing a ton of work. So we start with clarity. Even people, you know, even like people like myself or people where we're producing for clients and we are producing, you know, 10 or 11 events now for them, we always start with clarity. Doing a temperature test. If you've never done it before, it's great. But if you think, oh, you know, might get skip that one, use it as a temperature test. To make sure that everything is aligned where it needs to be, so when we come down the rest of the stages, we know what is happening and where we should be at. Okay, so that is point 1, and that is stage 1. Stage 2 is all about the audience. These first few stages, they might sound simple, but if you skip them, this is where it all goes wrong. Okay? Every time we have pulled data from an event that did not hit the really top end ultimate goal spectrum that the client has set or that the host has set, what we find is that it's always down to these first 4 stages where they've gone wrong. First 4 are critical. So the second stage is audience. So it's all about diving into the audience, understanding them, going to the point where you know them better than they know themselves, and you actually can talk to them in a way that makes it feel like you're their best friend sitting next door to them. Okay, that's the level that we dive in, because that is paramount to success. Okay, stage 3 for your workbook here is growth and offer. And again, when we're doing our growth, we're looking at how do we prepare ourselves to host as part of that? How do we grow our lists? So we've got people we can kind of test little points out on. So we've got a bit of an audience there. So we can just ask little questions. We can just do little bits and pieces. And we look at offer. So it's quite a wide stage, this one, because it has 3 separate segments. But what it means is that we've got the offer prepped. We've tested it and we've kind of checked it with our audience, make sure it's a hit. And we've got everything ready and laid out before we dive into the full committed point of the production stage of the event. Okay. And for a virtual summit, once you start getting to the point where you start stage 5, you are committed. Okay. You don't backpedal. So that's why it's critical we get these first 3 and 4 stages done. And obviously, I've teased you there a little bit. Stage 4, what is it? It's research. Okay, we dive in and we look at what's going on in the industry. Not looking at the audience, we're looking at your competitors, the industry, what's lacking, what's exhausting, what is it? We've touched on all of these topics ever so slightly over the last 6 days, but we dive deep into that, because when we're looking at how we structure our events and we look at what is the event capable of, what is the audience capable of tolerating, because we don't want to be treating them like guinea pigs and testing out everything on them. So what is it that we can do? That's stage 4. That is research, research, and research. Stage 5 is the one that some people might struggle with. And this is why stage 3 and that growth and preparing you as well for that growth is important, because stage 5 is outreach. Okay? Outreach. This is the bit where we start talking to people and sending them things and sending them invites and inviting them and getting those yeses and that connection. Okay, that's the bit where we kind of go, I've pressed the button, that's it now. Okay, that's where we do all of that pre-work ready so that you're confident at this stage. So then you do outreach. Once you've got through outreach, point 6 is that we do speaker prep. Okay, no speaker ever turns up to an event ready to go. We've got to prep them. We've got to make them understand what we want. We've got to get everything done. For anything where we're pre-recording, which for most people for their first event is the go-to way to do it, we want to make sure that we've all of that done and sorted. And please never ever take a holiday during this period if you are a host. We had a client, this is a complete side story, but we had a client who booked their holidays during the speaker prep stage, and we had a really fast turnaround on all of the others. So we only had about 3 weeks to get everything done. And she booked her holidays and went away and left us with 26 speakers who had to be interviewed and recorded with her as the host, and wasn't here. So you've got to think about your timing. We talk about this a lot inside of EEM. We plan our timelines so we know what's happening when, and people have got that confidence for, right, this is the timeframes I'm working to. But yeah, never as a side note and as a top tip, never go away on holiday during speaker prep or stage 9. Okay, they are your 2 bits you don't go anywhere with. Okay, and you also don't go on holiday during stage 8. So stage 7, if we dive into that, stage 7 is pre-production. This is all the elements that we need to create everything, because when we get to the live window, we're not doing that much compared to pre-production. Pre-production is our busy stage. It's where we're really busy getting everything sorted. So we have pre-production, then we move into production. So we have our live event window. So we might have an event that runs, say, 5 days, and we might have 5 days before and a couple of days after. That's our event window itself. So then we have our production phase, which is stage 8. So you do not take a holiday during that stage either. Okay, and then we have stage 9, which is our post-production. It's where we wrap up our event, we go through with our offer launch at the back end. That's where we look at we do our analysis, do our post-mortem of what went on with the event, and then that is where we then kind of review and go, right, are we ready for round 2? And that's when we start the whole process again, if it's something you want to do, because those first 5 stages can be as long or as short as you need them to be. So they can kind of, be an accordion and collapse in and out as you need it. But they are the stages and what a virtual event production looks like. If we were to plan it on paper, this is what it looks like. We're going to go through these stages and we're going to make sure that we tick them off, because if we skip a step, that's where it falls apart. Because during stage 8, if you have mucked something up in research at stage 4, then you are going to pay the price. And you are going to pay the price because you're not going to either get the attendees you want, or if you skip something on stage 6 and your speakers aren't working for you properly, again, you're going to feel that in stage 8 because you're going to have maybe less traffic, less people signing up, less ticket sales, which will all have an impact. So that's why we make sure that we follow this structure. Okay, we follow it. I call it a success path. So we follow our success path right the way down. And that is how we build things up. This is what it looks like. Like I say, normally if we're producing a TV or film, something like that, we would just have those 3 phases. But actually, when we're doing an event, we go through so much more. And it's there for a reason. Okay, so that one's quite a simple one. Now, guys, just shove in the comments for me, and I will pause a little bit for you guys to type it out because I appreciate it can take a while to kind of type. When it comes to the event stages we've just talked about, which is the one that you feel most comfortable with and you think, without diving into it, I'm fairly confident I might be able to nail that one fast. Which one do you think I can do it? Shove it in the comments for me. I'm going to come check the comments and let's see where we're all at. Okay, let's have a little look. Ooh, let's go up. So many comments from everywhere, all over. All right. So, okay. Hi to our peeps over on Periscope, by the way, guys. Thank you for the shout outs and the hellos. You are loved. You're welcome. Okay, we like our Periscope peeps. Hey, Chris. Hey, Lisa. So Lisa's got a question. I'll go down to Facebook ones first. Will we use what we learn now in virtual events in the future? Yeah, so Lisa, you will be able to use everything that you learn now in the future as well. Now, with EEM, so Experience Event Masterclass, obviously it's a 6-month intensive bootcamp, and we run that through as that incubator structure. When you get to the end of that, you can either say, yeah, great, I've done an event, I love it, I'm going to just use what I've got here. Or you may choose to run on and then learn even more advanced techniques because you've already got your audience, you've been through it, you're capable and of taking more advanced techniques on, and you might stay with us then and do more. So you can either stay inside EEM on a rolling basis, or for those people where they do start to produce more events or they want to produce different types, because obviously you may just run through 1 or 2 of those event structures inside of EEM at the time. You may want to then move on to doing others. Again, you can either stay inside EEM and just go on to a monthly, or you can move on to Inner Circle. And with Inner Circle, what we do there is that's where you are licensed. So your templates and everything that you get are for you to use, but you can't then go on to use our templates for clients. You can't kind of sell that as a service unless you're part of Inner Circle, because then we actually give you the license to use the templates for obviously commercial gain, for third parties. In Inner Circle, we also cover giving you the license for the Experience Event Framework as the trademark that is currently going through. So we give you more than that. But yeah, you can absolutely use that structure. Once you've got one structure, you can use the same structure time and time again. The difference with events long-term is that events are constantly evolving. And it's a bit like digital marketing. The reason why they're evolving is because what happens is your audience will eventually get exhausted, because when you pioneer something and you guys are at the top producing these amazing events, what will happen is over time, all the other people that kind of sit in the corner and they watch, they kind of, you know that they're kind of there somewhere, but you're never quite sure if they're watching or paying attention. Well, those guys creep out of the woodwork, and they start to copy what you're doing. They, the funnel hacking, effectively. They're funnel hacking their way through your systems. And when they do that, they ultimately, when you get 5, 6 people doing it, it starts to exhaust the audience because they're all getting the same type of input. They're all getting the same type of sales. It's really exhausting for them because suddenly you are not the pinnacle at the top because everybody else at the bottom has raised their game to meet you. So what we have is that we then have a rolling set of other techniques, which is why we do the kind of more advanced techniques to keep it so that you are constantly at the top and your events are constantly the best in your niche. Because if once somebody else kind of starts to copy you and emulate, it's a great form of flattery, but it does mean that we have to keep raising that bar. So that is just something to be aware of. Like I say, you can use them. You can take the same template that you will learn now in terms of the flow, structure, all of your templates and swipes. You can use that to create, a ton of events. It's just being aware of the competitors raising their game to meet you. And competitors they do notice, because ultimately they suddenly go from being, particularly if you were going from the underdog to being the expert, they kind of notice that you ping up and like, oh, where's my traffic gone? Why has my traffic gone down? Like I mentioned on one of the other live streams the other day, 10% month on month. Eventually they realize, and then they kind of go, oh, shit, I'm going to have to up my game. And normally they will up their game pretty fast because they get a bit grumpy that somebody's lapped them effectively and they didn't realize quicker. So normally they will up their game pretty fast and they come up to here. So we need to make sure that your events go up higher. Okay, so hopefully that answers that one. But yeah, you always have those things to go back to. So just another point, Team Lyndsey's giving me a little nudge. For anybody who's watching who is not part of Experience Event Masterclass yet, and this is just a reminder, the bonus event expires tonight. Okay, 23:59 Pacific. For us guys in the UK, that is 7:59 a.m., which is great because it means my team are back online and checking. Okay, so that is for the pre-training, which is happening for all the members tomorrow night. Okay, so tomorrow night, the members get their pre-training. Obviously, if you guys, if you want in for that, make sure you don't miss out because that expires, like I say, 23:59 Pacific tonight. So I will then go on with the questions because I just had that little nudge there. Let's have a little look. Okay, so one of the questions here is from Mike. Mike's been following us along a lot. I've seen a lot of your questions here. Like I say, because we're streaming to most places, I'm trying to go with the group first and then try and work my way through the other locations. Mike's question is all around creating his events and timelines. But basically, Mike's question is quite long here. It goes on about 3 paragraphs. I just tried to skim read it. For Mike's question, he wants to know about how long do these events take to create? Can you create more than one while you're inside of Experience Event Masterclass? How much workload is that compared to the stages that we've just talked about? So first of all, inside of Experience Event Masterclass, you get access to different structures. So you can choose your event that's going to be the best fit for your audience goals, and we work on that one to begin with. If you decide that you want to do a hybrid where you are connecting 1 to 2 together, that is fine. We have that structure. It doesn't matter in terms of which event you choose, whether you kind of, for time frame, you're still going to use those steps 1 to 5 that we've just talked about, because you're still going to need to go through clarity, still going to want to go through audience, growth, offer, and all of that side, research and outreach. No matter what your event is, those 5 are still the same. Okay. The benefit is if you do hybrid, that you can reuse a lot of that because you're actually attaching those 2 events together so the audiences are the same, so you can bolt them together. But all of that is the same. It really is one of those things that I say that you cannot, I have to drill this in, you cannot skip steps 1 to 5, okay? Because I know there's going to be somebody who comes up and goes, I know it all for step 1 to 2, let's skip. And then that's, like I say, where it falls apart. So in terms of timeframes and timelines, that's what it would look like. Speed-wise to produce these, we have produced events in 6 weeks. We've had some events that have taken 6 months. We've had some people where they want to plan it and actually take a lot longer. They take closer to 9 months. It depends on you and how much time you want to kind of spend on it. It depends on the size of your event and the type of your event as well. What I would say is I would not be rushing through for your first event. I would not be rushing through trying to do something in 6 weeks. Okay, 90 days is still tight. I've had this conversation a lot this week because some people have asked me about other people who are friends of mine in the industry who teach on doing this in 90 days. 90 days for your first event is really quite tight, particularly if you are not going to be doing 4 or 5 days a week at planning and getting this done. Okay, so I tend to kind of shy away from saying do it in 90 days. And usually the reason why people say that is because it's a really good marketing tool to be able to say, yeah, do it in 90 days. That's why we have that 6-month incubator, because I'm a big believer that life happens. And I would rather a host comfortably and they do it very well than rush through it kind of half-heartedly because they're trying to do everything else and juggle life and juggle COVID and all of this other random stuff that's going on in our world right now. It's like Jumanji level 20, isn't it? Okay, so if we're doing that, it's better to have that plan and to plan everything through and take that bit more time with it because you get better results. So timeline-wise, it is up to you, but I personally would say 90 days to 100, 120 is kind of where you want to be looking in terms of creation for your first event, particularly if you are wanting to bring in sponsors as well. So sponsors normally need at least a 90-day advance notice, at least, okay? I personally tend to pitch sponsors usually 6 to 9 months in advance of an event, sometimes even a year, because some sponsors, I know for a fact what time of the year they sit and actually do their budget planning and assign their funds to projects and for sponsorship. So it can depend, okay, for timelines. So hopefully that one has helped you guys a little bit there. In terms of other questions, one of the questions is, have I got time for this, full stop? And this is one, I actually have created a little page for you guys. I'm going to pop it over on an email tomorrow because I've sent a couple of emails and I don't want to bombard people. I got somebody telling me off earlier that they didn't have a link, which was like in the second sentence of the email. So I don't want to bombard people here. But when it comes to, you know, is this the right time for you? And is this the right time? How much time will this take? Allow a couple of hours a week, which when your brain's fizzing anyway with ideas, it's kind of hard to turn off. Like I was literally, it's going to be too much information here, guys. So if you don't want too much information, cover your ears. I was literally in the shower earlier thinking about things that I was doing and events and other things and kind of making little mental notes and writing in the steam and things, thinking, right, brain in gear. Okay. Because once you get that kind of creative juice flowing, it's hard to stop. So a couple of hours a week is what you would be wanting to put through to this. Okay, that can mean that you were just thinking, you're processing. I class processing time as part of this, particularly for that first 5 stages, because it's not something that I want you to go, that's the answer. Because sometimes things change. Sometimes we have to do a bit of introspective work as well. So that's a key part of it. In terms of, you know, is this the right time for you? I would look at your business and say, and this is kind of my rule of thumb, and it is quite harsh. You know, guys, I'm going to be honest, it's a harsh rule of thumb, but if you are doing less than 10K a month in your business, then now is absolutely the perfect time for you to do this because you need to be running at that level. Realistically, if you've got a message to share, you need to be looking at kind of that kind of income per month. And if you are not there, then there's absolutely no reason not to be doing this because it is what will get you to there and beyond. Okay, so it's that scalable. When we look at businesses that are sub kind of 100K, it is a lot of hustle and it leads to a lot of burnout. And that's something that I'm very much against, is burning people out, because you've got to kind of pace yourself with any form of business. I've been in this industry now 15 years and you've got to stay paced. So when it comes to, is this the right time? Yes, because unless you want to stay hustling and risk the burnout and go through that and then come back and kind of go, do I even love this business anymore? Do I like it? Do I like the people? If you don't want to go through that and you want to scale up without the stress and you want actual family time, you want a life, then yes, now is the absolute perfect time to do it. Okay, particularly, you know, when we do think, and I kind of joked about COVID earlier there, but that's the reason why Experience Event Masterclass is at the price it is right now. You know, I'm going to be blunt. Let's talk money. Okay, those of you get a bit squeamish about the word, we're going to say it. Money, money, money. We're going to talk about it. When we price Experience Event Masterclass, this should be significantly more. Okay, by significantly, I mean at least 5K. It's going to end up the size that it is, knowing what you guys are getting, it's going to end up eventually more like the 10K point, being realistic about where this is headed and what's included. Because even today, I was sat looking and talking to some of our design team and going, shit, we're going to add some more stuff in, because I think that these guys might not be able to use this technology. If they can, great. But how do we make it even easier? Why don't we give them a huge batch of extra templates and extra things they can use? You guys who are already in, you're going to love it. Okay, so we were talking all about that. So in terms of, is it the right time for me in terms of finances, if we're looking at it from that side of the question, then the answer kind of is really, do you want to get in now while it's at the lowest price it's going to be? Because I'm trying to help people. This is my way of trying to help people pivot, really. And I don't like that word pivot. I prefer the word distill, because people have distilled now from spending a lot of time at home what it is that they wanted out of their life, what it is they want out of their business. And they've got that laser focus on that. I don't want what I've had. I want to change. I want to focus on this and I want to grow. And that's why it's at the price it is. So it's $1,800 for the pay in full, or it is $300 per month for 6 months. And that is a 6-month commitment. Once you've made that commitment, you are in and you will pay that every month for 6 months. Okay. And again, that is, again, the payment plan. I'm not charging any extra for that because of this commitment to helping people distill themselves and get really, really laser focused in that structure as well. Because for me, being able to help you guys spread your message, that's what I believe is my mission in life, is because I can produce, I've got this production background. It's helping you guys spread that message and get your message heard in the world. And again, if you guys are burnt out because you've been having to hustle like crazy, like the hamster on the wheel, okay, you're not going to be able to shout and scream about it and kind of go, hey guys, listen, look, pay attention, this is what I'm doing. You're going to be kind of half hoarse, kind of whispering, going, guys, help. And that's the difference. That's why, you know, I talk a lot about scale up, and it's because of that volume and getting yourself heard. Okay, so hopefully that answers that one. Who else have we got? Okay, so Tony's asking about technical skills. Tony, I've covered this. There's a video for that. Technical skills, don't worry. We've got over the shoulder stuff where we dive into that specifically. Okay, we've got all of those points there. Everything is literally dialed right in, and that's why we have Implementation Lab as well. So you've got the time to then, if you're struggling with the technology and you can't do something, we will go through that tech with you. Okay, we'll hop on it in Implementation Lab. We'll go through, we can do screen share, we can do takeover mode to make sure that you can do it. So don't worry about the tech. Okay, we will talk you through the tools that are going to be best for you and make sure that you know which tools are going to work. We've talked about this on one of the other live streams. We have a core set that you will want to use. And then depending on your audience, there might be other little kind of paintbrush tools that we pick up to kind of give that different experience. But that's kind of the key bit there. But don't worry about, is it technical? Literally, we spell everything out. You've got that over the shoulder tech. And like I said, we have Implementation Lab, so you are not left on your own. Okay, let's go answer another one. Okay, oh, I've just had one pop over. I've got to catch NBC when you're closing up. Okay, so Shannon, just to answer yours, because that one just pinged up as I was scrolling looking for the one that just pinged in. Everything closes on Tuesday. So 11:59 p.m., so 23:59 Pacific. Okay, I'm giving you guys in Pacific extra time because normally I would do that London time, and it's like middle of the day for you guys, and I think that's quite hard. So 11:59 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday, the doors close, and that is it. Tonight, the bonus offer for the members only exclusive training that is happening tomorrow, it expires tonight. So if you get in before 11:59 p.m. Pacific tonight, then you get access to that and you'll be invited to that tomorrow. If you just think, oh, still sitting on the fence, don't worry. Like I say, the doors close 11:59 Pacific on Tuesday. Okay. And I keep saying this, and you guys, I'm going to apologize in advance. There will be some reminder emails coming out to people, because what happens every time I do any form of event is somebody says to me, a bit like this lady who joined me earlier on email, said, I can't find a link. And, you know, Charlie sent me a note and said, to the second sentence. Because I kind of, we've got so much going on. If I don't send those reminders, I'm not kind of helping you guys. I'm not helping my audience and my tribe and my community, because, hey, life happens. You might not have opened my last email or last two. You might have just gone, oh, opened it today. Shit, she's closing the doors. I have to remind people. So you will find that you get a lot of reminders over the next couple of days that the doors are closing. Don't take that as, oh my gosh, Lyndsey, you're just trying to it's because I can guarantee there will be somebody when I get up Wednesday morning and I'm kind of sitting there bleary-eyed because I read my emails kind of like, on the morning before I've had a coffee. And somebody will have said, I missed it. Can I still get in? Please, please. Every time we launch, we always get one person that does it. And I always feel horrific because it always makes me feel bad, because I think, what could I have done to help that person not come to me on a Wednesday and actually be in when we're in? Because obviously once the doors are closed, that's it. I'm a big believer in being ethical and being working from integrity. And when the doors are closed, that's it. So you will get those reminders. It's not me being pushy. It's just because I need to remind everybody, that one person on Wednesday morning that's going to email me. Okay. In terms of joining, like I say, Shanna's just asking, just another quick one there. Cost-wise, you've got pay in full, which is $1,800. You pay in full, that's it, and you're in for the 6-month incubator. For anybody coming on payment plan, it's $300. You pay your first one when you sign up, and then from that you pay $300 over, so you've got done 6 installments of $300. Okay, so hopefully that one helps. Next question that we've had, which is the one I was going to try and answer, which was around, oh, where's it gone? Okay, it was around financials. What can I make from this? Okay, I love this. Now, obviously, it would be highly unprofessional of me to suddenly go, you're going to make and guarantee it, because that's wrong in so many levels. Now, in terms of what you can earn from doing your virtual events, it literally depends on you and your niche, because how much is it and how valuable is it to get seen in your space right now? If your space is, for example, real estate, where, I happen to know that Facebook ads, to get a decent lead, even if we're looking at Google, Facebook ads, we're looking at $120 to $125 for real estate. That's last time I looked at it. If you've got any real estate people on, give me a holler if that is more. Okay. Last time I looked at it for Google AdWords, it was closer to $170 per lead. If you hold an event in that space and you get an extra 500 leads, look at what you've already then saved on top of what you then earn on the back end from your offer, what you can earn on your tickets and pass upgrades and things like that. So it's kind of hard to put an exact number on it. Typically, I would say somewhere from a couple of hundred, if we're going to be really, let's say you really tank everything, and I won't let you, but let's say you really did, a couple of hundred up to, like I say, we've had people that go into 6 figures with their events. We've had clients do that before. So it is kind of like how long's a piece of string, because there's so many variables. The biggest ones being what you do and the results that you kind of, in conclusions you draw in those first 5 stages that we've talked about already. Okay, those first 5 stages of the production, what producing a virtual event looks like. That's why they're critical, because they are the real kind of things that can change the game when it comes to what we get in terms of return. Now, when you factor in things like publicity, when you factor in the invites you're going to get to other stages, to other opportunities, you add all that on, and suddenly the price really starts to go up in terms of what your revenue is. It just depends on you in terms of, like I say, what are your numbers? What is it you need to have? So hopefully that kind of answers that question. Let's go for this one. Let's have a look. Who have we got? Okay, we've got Elle. So Elle wants to know, how is this different to other courses, and how are we doing this differently? Okay, first of all, we produce events every single week, every month. We're producing events for clients and for ourselves. So that means that what we're doing and what we're teaching you is coming from a place of hard data. And I like data. You should like data. Data is sexy. Okay, it's really gorgeous, because when we have data, we can control our businesses. When we are just using that gut feeling and we're kind of guessing, that's where it goes wrong. And usually when I have clients referred to me who are kind of that 6-figure wanting to get to 7, and it's just like, oh, everything's going wrong, it's usually because of guest. And then when we dive into data, it reveals a whole different business structure. Okay, so it's looking at that in terms of that timing, in terms of what that might look like for you. It can be a bit of a funny one, because again, we're looking at where you are going to position yourself in terms of your business. We're looking at what's best for you. Okay, so hopefully, does that answer the question? I think I kind of maybe have lost my kind of thought there, because something pinged in the background. Somebody's saying here, Lisa's saying, I'm nervous about doing this. I'm working full time. Lisa, do not worry, because that's why we've structured it the way we have. Okay, we have inside of Experience Event Masterclass, we have the success path. Okay, we have everything that you can follow. And again, this is one of those differences. Okay, is we have that success path. We're not just going to throw it at you and go, do all this. We drip everything out, and we have a milestone document, guys. So anybody who hasn't seen this, we have a milestone document. Each week, a new milestone gets stripped out, and it's for you to complete. And if you don't complete it that week, that's fine. When you're done, you just tag in your coach, and then your coach will take a look, and we will give you some feedback. And you can post it into the community group as well. And again, we will give you feedback in there. The rest of the community will give you feedback, but we follow this success path. So you don't need to worry about everything, because when you are creating your first event, creating that and having to kind of think about other things. Okay, so serving clients, running a business, if you're working for corporate still, you're still in that world of work, dealing with children, dealing with parents, it's hard to be able to deal with all of that and have this huge overwhelm of all of these other things that you now need to do. So what we do is we follow that success path. Okay, we start with stage 1, we go through our milestones, and when we tick off our action item, woohoo, we pass to the next stage. We don't have to worry about doing everything all at once. And that's, again, why I keep saying we don't focus on trying to make you squeeze this all into 90 days, because those that I've seen do that struggle, and they struggle a lot. So it gives you that extra room to be able to take things on. And if you can't make a week, or you can't make a coaching session on the Monday, or you can't make a Thursday, that's fine. You will get the replays. If there's a particular one and you think, oh, 3 weeks from now, I can make that one, because I might not be able to make any Mondays, that's fine. You can book in, and you can book a slot, so we know that you want to be there. And if you've got any issues, you can drop them into the group. You can message out to us. We'll pick it up. We'll make sure that you are surrounded. Okay. What I do say, just for my own sanity, is that we do follow business hours. Okay. If I reply outside of them times when you tag me in, please love it and appreciate that I am trying to support. If it is a 3 a.m. tag, please do not get grumpy if I don't reply at 3 a.m. because I am one of those people that I have to have boundaries for me and the team, which is that, when it is bedtime, I don't expect my team to be kind of picking their phone and going, oh, must answer. But that's because, everybody needs boundaries, and it needs to be healthy. And that's why we structure it the way we do as a whole incubator, to make sure that it's a healthy development for you, and you are going forwards from a place where you are able to manage workload. You're not getting behind. And like I say, don't worry, because I have this no man, no woman left behind policy. If we don't see you, because our software that we use a piece of software called Experience and Murray has done a great job developing it. Murray Gray and Marissa Mugatoid own that software, and it's amazing. And it's designed for experiences. And literally in the back end, if we don't see you log in, and we haven't seen you log in for a little while, don't worry, we're going to check in and go, is everything all right? Are you okay? We're going to check in with you and make sure that you're fine. And then we can always have that discussion. And we do have a point of having little kind of check-ins every couple of weeks on top of everything else that we've got going on. So in terms of workload inside, do not be afraid of it, because yes, there might be 9 steps, but we break them down, we make them bite-sized, we make it easy. Because as long as you are completing each little action and you're taking those little tiny steps, you will get everything done the way you want to. Okay, and like I say, I'm not going to take any blame if you guys do not get peaceful showers, peaceful drives to work, wherever it is you do your thinking, because your brain is going, oh, idea. That's normal, okay? And it's healthy. I think it's healthy, because your brain is kind of working its way through things. So don't worry about kind of too much workload. We drip content out, A, to make sure that nobody skips a step, because we do not want people going, I don't need to research, I'm in, because that is not going to be successful. So we drip it out for that reason, and we drip it out to make sure that you are not getting overwhelmed, because it does feel like there's a lot. When you get access to the full checklist, if you choose to use the full checklist that we have, you will look at it and you'll go, eek! Okay, it will be like that little kind of noise will come out. That's why we don't give you all of that in one big bulk. Okay, we have the checklist that you can work down, and you will be working down it, but we don't overload you with it at the beginning, because that's not fair. Okay, these things are designed to be lots of little bite-sized steps. That's why we have all of the templates, the swipes, everything there. So as you need them, you get access to them, and you're not having to work, like a feverish little duck kind of pedaling under the water just to keep going. Okay, so we have that one covered. Do not be nervous, we've got you. Okay, who have we got? So Shannon is asking, I'm just bringing back up to Facebook, tonight's VIP for tomorrow. I think what you're asking there, Shannon, is, so tomorrow is the members pre-training. It's an exclusive event for members as a pre-training before diving into Experience Event Masterclass, which we open on Wednesday. Okay, so everyone will start on Wednesday. Now, in terms of that, all you've got to do to be able to join us tomorrow is just claim your spot inside of Experience Event Masterclass, either using the pay in full or using the payment plan. It doesn't matter which, because we've left that on for both options. Okay, so hopefully that answers it a little bit more. Dusty is saying, I'm not clear how to approach professionals who've been on other summits. Not sure what I would have to offer as a revenue generator, courses, etc. Don't worry. Okay, that's why we do it. So when we get to outreach at number 5, we've already prepped all your messaging. We've made sure that we know what the offer is that you are offering. We've made sure we've got your position very, very clear. Okay, we've distilled that really clearly. We know what the audience want. We know what you are offering. And then when we move to outreach, there is a whole kind of box of tricks I'm going to give you for how to get people to take notice, how to get them to open your emails, how to avoid that anxious kind of wait when you send an invite. Have you ever done that? Have you ever kind of like fangirled on somebody and sent them a message and be like, oh my God, did they read it? Did they read it? Did they read it? Okay, I'm going to show you how to get rid of that anxiety too. We're going to go through how to find these people in the first place, how to find your speakers, how to talk to them, how to make the approach, how to keep having that discussion. Okay, we will go through all of that as part of outreach. So before you even kind of press send, you have all these skills, you know exactly what to expect. And hey, if they do not reply straight away, it's fine. We go through what to do next. Okay, so there's a whole host of things. Do not worry about speaker acquisition. It's kind of, for me, it was the scariest thing that I ever had to do, because I was just like, I'm a producer. I'm not the person who goes in front of the camera. Now, for years, even in film and TV, people would try and get me in front of the camera and they'd be like, oh, you look great. You know, when we're doing setups and they'd be setting up the screens and everything, they'd be like, oh, can we just grab you and can you just do this? And people would try and get me in front of the camera. And I battled with this for years. I was like, nope, I don't belong here, not my space. And when I started approaching speakers for the very first time for our events, approaching for clients obviously feels very different because it's not quite you, it's not as personal. And the first time I did it for our events, I was petrified, okay? And that's why I know, and that's why we've designed the outreach part of Experience Event Masterclass to cover that and make sure that you are not scared like I was, because I was petrified. And I genuinely thought, what if, and the reason I should say this, the reason why I felt like this was way back. You know, I'd been really sick, maybe about 5-6 years ago now. There was an influencer that I adored. I adored the way she spoke. I thought she was fantastic. I just really liked her and we got on. We're actually, you know, we're Facebook friends. However, Facebook friends does not mean friends, as we all know. And what happened was I queried something and she didn't like it and she screenshot it and she put it into her group of it was quite a large group at the time. It was about 20,000 people in there. And they were just like savage dogs. Now, for me, they were nowhere near as bad as something she did to somebody else. But I remember inviting people because I had that happen and it was in the back of my mind going, shit, I don't want that to happen. What happens if it happens? A, I had to strengthen my own mindset, and that's something that we cover as well. But B, it really had I had a huge resistance to inviting people to work with me on my own, and me as that face. And it was because of that experience. And it was just like, okay. And I had to do a lot of work around, how do I feel about that? How do I deal with it? And how do I move past that resistance block? And again, that is something that we cover inside of Experience Event Masterclass, because for me, I know it was a huge thing for me. And I can imagine so many of you even watching now are thinking, yeah, you're making it sound scary. It's not once you get yourself in the right place, but the first time you do this and the first time you reach out to people, you may find that may be the hardest part of producing your event for you, is actually inviting speakers. Because it may be that you get a little bit, for me, I was just like, oh, not quite sure. Maybe a little bit of imposter crept in, I'm not sure. But I know when we've talked to clients about this on their first events, they've always come back and said the same thing, which is, if it wasn't people they knew, they felt a little bit like imposter syndrome. Even those, we had one client and she was like multi-7-figure now, and she was petrified of asking people she knew, because she's like, what if they say no? And she went on holiday with people. She went on masterminds. You know, you go abroad, you go somewhere nice, everyone's together. It's a bit like a holiday. And she went to these things with them, and even she was scared. So it's something that we take you through, and we do a lot of work around, because it's not just the physical doing, but it's your view, it's your mindset around this. How are you going to overcome that barrier? What is that resistance, and how do we overcome it? And how do we get you in that peak condition where you're just like, yeah, it's good, I'm good with it. Okay, because once you've done it once and you kind of rip the band-aid off, it's fine. Okay, it's absolutely fine. It's just that first time you do it and you're kind of like, oh, it's a bit like I say, ripping a band-aid off. You know what to expect if you have to do like 3 on your arm at once, but the first one always kind of feels a little bit, oh. So hopefully that answers that one. So let's have a little look. What have we got here? Okay, Shannon, I'm glad you've got me. Mike's following along. That's great. Helen is following along. Excellent. I'm just reading Dusty's. So Dusty's, we've just covered yours. What about social proof? Okay, so there's a couple of you asking here about no social proof yet. Interesting. Okay, so Dusty in particular saying people have said, you know, no authority. It's interesting when you have lack of social proof. Again, there's ways we can do this. It depends on what you need for your audience. And this is part of stage 2, when we look at the audience and we need to understand them. Getting proof can come in many forms. It may be that your audience need to see you physically have a picture with their absolute, you know, complete boffin hero at the top. Okay, I know somebody whose audience, that's what they needed. It may be that your audience want to see you getting published in really well-established places, such as they want to see you being featured in Forbes or Thrive or HuffPost. It may be that that works for them. It may be that they want to see just other people like them who've been and worked with you, and you're using that as social proof. It depends on your audience, what they need, but that comes out in stage 2. When we get through clarity and we move into audience, part of that is that social proof. What is it that they need? Okay. And we deal with that because, again, as part of stage 3, we make sure that we tick that off. So you've got something there to use. Okay. So you've got something you're coming from. Now, when it comes to your virtual events, if you're doing summits, things like that, again, believe it or not, because you're carrying that authority and you're borrowing that currency of authority and social proof from the speakers, because your audience are looking at the other speakers and going, I trust them. They might not trust you, but they're saying, I trust them. And when they say, I trust them, they effectively associate you into the same group, because you are hosting it. You've pulled these people together. So you must know them. You must have talked to these people because you know them because they're in your event. And it does have this kind of extra layer of currency where you are then able to kind of swipe that authority. And by the fact that you have your picture and your face next to these people on your marketing, again, it does borrow that kind of currency. And what you then do is you can use that tool, because you're, particularly with a summit or a conference, that is a product in itself. You can drive your audience to always go through that first, or you can then publish little, so a really good tip is we can publish little blogs, we can publish little articles using snippets from our conversations with our speakers, and we can use that as publicity. We can put that out there. We can have that kind of screen on screen. We can take the screenshot of Zoom. There's all sorts we can do to create authority and to create that social proof to make your audience be motivated to trust you and to work with you. It's just about the positioning and what they need and how we structure it. Okay, which is why those 9 stages are so important, because it's all about the structure and the order that we introduce things to the audience. So that one is coming there. Yep, so a couple of people are saying overcoming resistance and mindset training, brilliant. Yes, okay. It's not just even that and overcoming resistance and mindset. It is going through, what do I need to be a host? What is that confidence that I need to have on screen to talk to a little black box, which is your camera, because that's all it is. But what is the confidence of how that comes across? How do I need to feel to speak? What if I don't, what about pressing record? What about hearing yourself? We go through all of these different kind of resistances and structures, and we do all of the mindset work around it because it's critical. Okay, so that is another point inside of Experience Event Masterclass and what we actually dive into and go through. So that's an important one. Let's just go through some more of the questions. I did get so many questions pinged through in advance of this. It was crazy. I think we've covered quite a few of them here. Okay, so one of them is around doors closing. Well, we've covered that, just so you remember. Doors are closing 11:59 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday nights. So we're going into that. Somebody's asking a little bit more about the software that we use for inside. Okay, so just to kind of recover that. So we use Experienceify. You probably won't have heard of it because these guys only launched it in January. I've used it for quite a while. Before they did that, they're just about to release version 2.0. So there will be kind of even better stuff happening inside of our membership, because there's other little bits kind of adding in there, because I call any platform like that's called a membership. You actually could use it for summits, for hosting certain parts of your track. We talk about assets within Experience Event Masterclass itself, because there are certain assets you will need. Obviously, we have funnels. We want somewhere to put our actual product. We talk about all of that, so you've got it all covered. So again, don't worry about that. What have we got here? Oh, one's about messaging. Okay, so messaging. With messaging, when you come through the sales pages for Experience Event Masterclass itself, I should really put the location on, shouldn't I? There we go. So you can have a little look. You will see that we have this kind of element there where you can upgrade for an offer mastery, which is one-on-one. Okay, we have that. We also have inside of Experience Event Masterclass itself, my copywriters, my team are here to support you, and we actually go through messaging. We go through looking at copy, and you can get feedback on that. So you're not having to be this magical copywriter. If you can't write for toffee, don't worry. We will take you through the formulas for how to create good copy. We take you through the message, because the message needs to be sticky. We want your audience to read it, and even if they don't take action the first time, let's say they just, for whatever reason, didn't take action, we want it to kind of be ruminating around in there. So when they see it the second time, they go, oh, yes, I'm in. Okay, that's what we want. So again, we have that inside of there. You get access to all of my team, not just in terms of messaging copy, but we have our design team there. We have our tech team. We have our assistant team. You can ask questions and get responses from specific individuals. Okay, so all of them are in there as well. So again, don't worry. We will be adding more and more of our team into the members group over the next couple of weeks, because I don't want people to, again, jump too far too fast and go down the rabbit hole of kind of, talking about design and diving into design when we haven't got audience research done properly. Okay, so we will introduce them to you as you need them, and each one will be introduced to you as that expert at the time. So that is again, all inside of there, because I know that it takes more than one person to make events. Okay, you might be sitting there like thinking, because that was a question that is on the to-do list. I'm just looking at the list just off camera here. Okay, which was, do I need a team? You don't need a team. You can do this on your own. You may want to outsource certain bits because you just don't like them. Okay, and that is cool too. We give you everything. You can work on whatever it is you need. And if you don't like bits, that's great. We have a Rolodex of people we recommend, and we also have instructions and ways of how you can hire people if you need them. Okay, so you don't need to have a team. This obsession, it's really funny. Every year I do a poll, and every year, people come back to me, what's the biggest thing holding you back from scaling up right now? And the most common answer is, I need a team. I can't get over the magic 100K mark because I need a team. Okay, that's not true. You don't actually need one. You need to be able to work smarter, and you need to be able to position your business so when you do outsource things, you are structured, you are safe, you are confident that you're not going to end up with a big mess around you. We talk you through all of that inside of Experience Event Masterclass. We make sure that you've got access to everything. You can do it all on your own. In fact, that's why I was looking at some of the templates earlier even and kind of going, how can we make these even simpler? How can we make this that my 6-year-old niece could do it? How do we make it that simple? And that's not an offense to anybody, because I'm obsessed with, if we can make it so like a preschooler or, second grader can do it, then everybody can do it regardless of skills. Okay, so we have all of that in there. We have that team, we have that support. So you've got access to everything. You're not on your own. That's the really key bit here, is you're not on your own. You've not just got me, you've not just got my team, you've got all sorts of different people in there. And again, it's that support. Okay, so that is that one. Comments are flashing up. Minus £20, keep it up. Dave 165, do you think that's because I'm sweating? Is that what you're meaning? Minus £20, keep it up. Yeah, it's getting hot in this room because I've got so many lights on. So yeah, I do feel like I probably lost £20 just sweating away. Okay, have we got everybody covered with questions? I think so. I'm going to just kind of give us a little bit of filler for 2 minutes, guys, while we're, if you've got any questions, ping them in the comments now. I think I've got everything covered, or I've answered them through other questions. So if there's anything that I've missed, do keep it up and add them in. For those of you who, like I say, are thinking about joining, I wouldn't wait. And that's not a sales pitch. It's because I want you to come and join and get the benefit of tomorrow with the pre-event training and all of that that's happening. So don't kind of sit and think, oh, I'm just going to wait till like 11:58. Why do we all do that? I do that. It's not a shame to anyone. I do that as well. And we know we're going to take action, but we just can't be bothered to carve the time out and go and find the card and do the thing. Don't wait, because like I say, I don't want you to miss out on what's happening tomorrow. We are going to be creating some little accountability buddies and little accountability kind of groups, because, inside of EEM, there is a lot of accountability. We're holding you accountable. We're kind of following up and doing our best with you. Obviously, you're doing your best. But we are going to be putting people into kind of little bubble groups, just so you've got other buddies to work with. We have a really nice mixed cohort this year. So it's quite a nice one. And again, don't feel, because I know that was one of the questions I have missed. I knew there was one. Don't feel like you have to join the Facebook group. Somebody messaged me and said, do I have to join the Facebook community because I don't do Facebook groups? If you don't, that is fine. I appreciate there's a proportion of my list where you guys like to message me and we have these conversations, but you maybe don't like being in the Facebook group. That is why we are live streaming to multiple locations, because I know some of you don't want to be in the community because you find that can be a little bit overwhelming for keeping up. That's fine if you don't. Okay, everybody will get the invites. You're invited. If you come and you choose to be active, that is fine. If you don't, also fine. Okay, we're working with you and coming to meet you where you're at. Okay, this is not one of those, you're with me for 6 weeks and that's it kind of things. We're together for 6 months. We're going to work through things. We're going to make it happen, and we're going to get those changes. Okay, and if you want to join the group 2 months in because you finally got your confidence up, that's fine. Don't be afraid of it. Okay, that's a big thing. Do not be afraid of it. All right. Somebody said 6-year-old mind with dyslexia. That is fine. For you guys, just so you know, I am a fully qualified teacher in my own rights. When I had my daughter and I left film and TV because 80-hour weeks with a newborn is not practical, I actually retrained to teach. So I'm a fully qualified teacher in the UK in my own rights. from ages 3 to 19, certified for there, and a member of the Institute of Enterprise Entrepreneurs, because I'm also certified as a fully qualified business coach as well. So in terms of, people thinking, oh crap, dyslexia, anything like that, don't worry. I'm fully trained on that. I support you with it. We have lots of different ways that you can access the content. So again, we're covering you from the learning angle, which I know most people don't do. But for me, it's really important that our students find everything accessible. You can access everything. So that's a really critical point. So thank you for kind of that. I know it was a joke there, but let's just, we will make sure that you've got everything covered. Don't worry. So have we got any more comments? I think I've got just about everybody caught up. We've covered accountability, we've covered technical, we've covered timelines, we've covered authority. I think we've got everybody. I can't see anything I've not picked up. For those who are joining today, we have had a slight delay on our little Facebook group because we had our admin lost her internet today, who was doing that for me. So don't worry, we will get you guys added in. If anybody's joining in who hasn't had that access yet, don't worry. And like I say, you get the invite. If you don't want to join straight away, that is fine. If we have just 2 people who decide to join the Facebook group, that is fine. Okay, I'm fine with you guys joining whenever you need to be in. Okay, the live trainings will be in there, but we'll also be putting them into the actual platform itself, so you don't have to come into the group to get access to them if you don't want to. Okay, again, really critical point there. So hope that's helped, guys. Hope that's been great. Lisa's saying, thank you so much. Talk to you tomorrow on our Zoom call. Can't wait. I can't wait either. So what time tomorrow and what time Wednesday start? Dusty, you should have had it in email. We will get it kicked back out to you. Don't worry. Tomorrow, I seem to think is 7 p.m. my time, which will be 11 a.m. Pacific. I will get the team to double check and I will come back to you to confirm. And Wednesday, pretty much what we're doing is it'll come out on email and you'll be able to log in and get started straight away. And we'll kind of have a little bit of a little party in the group. We're not saying it's a hard start for Wednesday just because I know some people may not want to get started. Some people have said they want to start Thursday, Friday. That's fine. But you will find the first lot of content is releasing into there on Wednesday. And then you've got access to that to get started. And we'll have a little bit of a Facebook kind of chat. And you've got the milestone doc, which you'll all get as well. That will be released. If you haven't got it yet, you will have it by Wednesday morning. And then you can start working on that straight away. Okay? Perfect. Right. I've got everybody sorted, I think. Great. But I say, if you're joining us and you're planning on joining or thinking about it, we've covered just about everything. I've got no more questions from anybody. So I think I think everyone's sorted. In which case, it's down there on the screen, experienceeventmasterclass.com. Do come join us. Do not kind of wait till Tuesday because you might as well get the extra pre-training. Why miss out? Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to ciao for now and I'm going to see you later. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye.